do an Instagram video. A little too thin. Sorry, guys. Blame it on the people. Blame it on the people that didn't show up. Okay. Where's my pick? Do you guys like really loud guitars? Yeah, you're gonna get out.
Yeah.
coming, guys. Are you coming in the back? So far, you've missed nothing. Except some really feeble attempts at humor. Just my whole thing. Okay, here we go. More music. Yeah, why not? Sure.
Well, aren't you guys just the sweetest people in all of Penang? In this mall at this very moment. This is the sweetest group of people in this music store, in this mall, on this island, in this part of the world. Okay, so basically the way I've been structuring these clinics, these classes, if you will. You get a good shot? You good? Okay, good. Attaboy. Is I play, we talk, I attempt to be funny, maybe I get a laugh, maybe I don't. Life goes on, I move on, we all move on. Sometimes I'm met with resistance from the crowd when I say it's question and answer time. They look at me and then they kind of look down and they like pretend to go on Instagram and like look at shit. But I know really they're just afraid to ask the question they have in their mind. So I'm gonna bribe you. Okay? Whoever asks the first question gets this guitar pick I'm using tonight. It's disgusting. Oh, look at that. See, it works every time. The hands just shoot right up in the air. It's a beautiful thing. What's up, my friend? I like your jacket, by the way. It's kind of overkill for the weather here, but it looks good on you.
Hi. How do you get that much clarity from a high gain setup?
Good question. That's the question? Okay.
Well, okay.
So, let me ask you, what kind of guitar do you use?
A Strat, actually.
With single coils?
I have a humbucker in the bridge.
Okay, and do you use that a lot when you're playing? Is that your kind of go-to thing?
Well, if I'm playing heavier stuff, then yeah.
Okay, so you're playing with a pretty heavy guitar sound.
Sometimes.
And okay, so and then what are you looking to get? Like, what's giving you problems? Is it just the type of amp you're using?
Well,
you should
no,
use a Mesa Boogie available now at Bentley Music in the local
it's not really problems. I'm just intrigued with your tone.
Oh, sure. Okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so what I'm doing, my friend, is for the most part I'm plugged straight into the amplifier. I'm using the second channel on this amp. Also, fun fact that seems insane. Maybe it is a little insane, but if you look at the EQ on my amp, I have no treble.
Treble's gone, baby. I have no presence. It's all gone.
So I can still pretty much get this. I can still get this. I can get both. This weather is just destroying my guitar. I can still kind of get both. The mid-gain channel, even if the gain's cranked on a single coil pickup, it's still pretty clean. It's not that bad. I've been using either the third channel. I've been experimenting with this overdrive pedal a little bit, kind of just sweeten things up a little bit. But for the most part, the only advice I give you is just to, or if you're interested in that sound, is just get rid of a lot of the gain. Get rid of a lot of the gain. Just hit harder, like.
With that, if my volume's at 10, go from that.
Pulling off really hard. So the dynamics, I'm hitting really hard. I'm focusing on. So okay, so I always play to the amp. I never play to the guitar. Like I'm aware that I have that much height is my action. My hands are maybe tired, or I'm tired, or I'm hungry, or I'm human. So like I have human problems. So how I am, I'm reacting to the tone. So I play to the tone. And if it's like I want something a little heavier. Maybe I'll even roll back the tone knob on the bridge so it doesn't sound so. And I'll adjust the presence or the treble or something. In this case, they're at nothing. It just sounds good in this room at nothing. I mean, even at nothing. It still sounds kind of stratty, right? And like that difference of. Sounds really bright and full and bloomy with no treble. So again, I'm just playing to the sound of the amplifier. Just back the gain off. I mean, really, if you're having trouble getting clarity out of gain, just get rid of some of the gain. And maybe the type of amp you're using isn't conducive to what you're playing. It could be something like that. Some people, it's like, oh, I'm using, I don't know, like I'm trying to get a metal sound out of like a Fender Hot Rod. It's like, well, that's because you're an idiot. Have fun with that. So yeah, could be a lot of that stuff. But I think all that just kind of boils down to experience and playing live. Because you know how it goes. All of you guys know how it goes when you're at home. Let's set up the scene here, okay? You're at home. You just had a shower. You're nice and comfortable. You're feeling good. I'm ready to practice. You ate dinner. You're full. Life is great. So you're in your room. You get your guitar. Okay, it's perfectly in tune. You get the air conditioner on. Yes. You get your computer with your backing track open. Life's, oh man, you're killing it right now. Okay, you got your tea, you got your amp set up, or your computer speakers, whatever. You got your, elbowing his buddy. You got your Instagram open, you keep liking that girl's photos over and over again. She'll get back to me eventually. She'll get back to me, I'll just put those over here. So you're comfortable. You play guitar, it's at the right volume, everything sounds, can I swear? I can't remember. I'll try not to. It sounds great, and you're just like, yeah man, I got the tone, this is all I'm ever gonna need in life, perfect. The second you take that same setup or anything, you put it in a room louder or with a band, it's just like, oh shit, I actually suck. Like really bad. And this doesn't work anymore. The tone you have at home, this must be like truth because it kind of rhymes. The tone you have at home, doesn't rhyme at all actually. That's an N, that's an M. Nick, come on, you got this, bro. 31 years old. The tone you have in your bedroom versus this tone, I mean, what bedroom are you playing? You're not playing that, maybe you have a huge bedroom. Like a massive bedroom. You can never get that sound. It's like, these amps are meant to be, for example,
They're meant to be pushed, right? Like, you have this.
So that amp is meant to be actually played louder than that. I want to play way louder than that, but I kind of want you guys to not go deaf, because then having an amp defeats the point of that. So it could just be maybe you're playing with a band. I'm just generalizing for everybody in here. I can't get good tone. Here's a good one. This is my favorite so far on the tour. I was in Indonesia, and a young man asked. This is a Clarity, and he was a metal player, similar kind of thing. He goes, well, I'm having trouble with my tone. I have a Mark V 25, and every time I plug my Line 6 pod into it, and I stopped and I went, what the hell did you just say to me right now? I'm like, see, some of you cringe, some of you pulled back. Well, Line 6 pod, what are you doing? You've got this like, it's like you had this beautiful, freshly baked baguette and you put ketchup on it. It's kind of what you just did there. It's like, what are you doing? Why would you do something like that? But it's comfortable. It's okay. How old are you? I forgive you. 16 years old. I forgive you. Okay, so the first step is admitting it, my friend. Anyways, just playing with a band, playing with people, or even coming to a music store and Bentley Music in your mall in Penang, distributor of Mesa Boogie amplifiers. Buy one now today. They'll let you come in here and crank your amp up. So try that. Now I'm just talking about being a salesman again. But so anyways, I roll the game back, and if I gotta hit harder or use something to push it when I need to push it. And these pickups are a little bit more top-endy. They're a little more bright, because I found when I'm playing with a band, drummers are really annoying and they hit a lot. They have like a lot of cymbals. Like, look at all the cymbal shit over here. What is this? How do you need so many of these? Just get one and move on. Get one and move on with your life.
Yeah,
You're gonna get hit this cymbal, but this one, listen. But listen to this one. Yeah, don't hear a difference, man. Don't hear it. And just get your shit off the stage and the next band has to play. So that's another reason I really think about the time. Oh God, I have too many experiences with that. Next question. Who's got the next question? Put the hand up, ask the question. Let's do this. My man.
So I'm a classical pianist and I just want to start learning guitar. So what do you?
I'm a classical pianist. I just want to start learning guitar. So what do you think is the most important thing that I should pick up right now as a beginner?
As a beginner? Classical piano player. Why do you want to play guitar? Peer pressure? You weak-spirited man, you'll never get anywhere. Man, that's a great question. So I can kind of give you the background of how I got into guitar, and maybe you can choose something out of that. I have no idea. We'll find it. Let's go down a path together, shall we? 1 second. Okay. Here we go. I will regale you with the tale of my youth. When I was 13 years old, I'm 31 now. I know. I had a neighbor that moved in. And he was 14 years old. And when you're 13 and you meet a 14-year-old, that's like the greatest age gap ever. Because he's in high school. Maybe he started going through puberty. Maybe he has back knee. Do you guys know what that is? Acne on your back. Maybe he had a girlfriend. I don't know. Maybe he had like a formed Adam's apple. But I was 13 and I thought this guy was a god. Because I heard him from his basement window playing this. Does anybody recognize that? Blink-182, What's My Age Again? So, I heard him playing all these songs, and eventually I got up the courage to send him what I like to call nowadays an analog text, and that is walking over and knocking on his front door. Hello. Door opens, the mother answered. Is that guy here? I didn't know his name. And he came to the front door, and I think he was 11 feet tall. I can't remember. And I said to him, "Can I come watch you play guitar?" And he goes, "Yeah." Simple. And I went down to the basement and with him, and he gave me the guitar and he said, "Hit a string." I was hitting a string. And he goes, "Just move your finger anywhere." No. And I heard the pitch go up, and my brain exploded. Completely exploded. I heard notes rise in pitch and was like, "Oh shit!" Because before that, I thought to be a guitar player, you had to be a professional musician, which makes no sense. No sense at all. I thought the guitar was this thing that one of your many gods gives to you. And you go, "Oh God, I guess I will now go forth." Because I only knew rock guitar because of Led Zeppelin. My dad was a huge classic rock and progressive rock fan, so I grew up listening to Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, King Crimson, Yes, Genesis, Camel, Cactus, Grand Funk, all sorts of stuff. Guitar everywhere. Whoa. So when I first started playing guitar, to kind of get somewhere with this story, I was playing with friends. It was just, show me something cool. It was this riff. Let's see if you know this one. The falsetto part comes in. You guys know Hash Pipe by Weezer? That was a big hit in 2001 when I first started playing guitar. And I remember hearing that all the time on the radio and just being like, "Oh man, I gotta learn that." I was just following 100% what I thought was cool. That's all I learned. Because, and you're a classical piano player, how long have you been playing? What if he was like 4 months? Wouldn't that be funny? I can play and how old are you?
18.
So you've been playing for 10 years. You said 10 years. So you started playing when you were 4? If my mouth is, I'm just kidding. So you started playing guitar when you were 8. Since you were 8. And have you always loved playing classical piano? Or did your mother or father go, "Get back in there"?
I wanted to quit at one point, and then I made like a 180, like a complete turn, said all of a sudden, like, I like piano.
Cool, right, okay. Okay, so you at some point you found the love, but at one point you're like, no, Mom, I just want to like do poetry.
Yeah, and then I found these guys and like.
Oh, lucky you saved his life, you guys. Don't look too happy about that. So what I'm saying is, especially learning a new instrument. Oh my gosh, poor thing. You're already good at one. You're learning a new one. You have to find something that's going to want to keep you doing it, and usually that's just like what you think sounds good. If you think that sounds good, that's the thing you got to chase. For me, it was just simple little riffs I heard on the radio. I tried to figure out how to play them, and then it was playing with people. I liked practicing a lot. I used to practice 6, 7, 8 hours a day, every day for 15 years. I don't know. But the joy that came from playing with people, just sitting in a room and like talking about guitar and playing and showing you, what are you doing? Oh, cool. That was like what kept me going. That's what kept me going. You know, oh, I gotta practice again tomorrow. Okay. Oh, maybe my buddy's home. I'll go play with him. And I don't have to worry about that. And put off doing my homework. Life is good. All of that stuff. It was just finding the thing that I thought was cool, and then just following that. And that is actually all I still do. That's all. I'm completely self-taught. Everything I know, I learned from playing with people, or from talking, or checking a book out of a library and just kind of taking some key information out of it and writing it down. Writing it down, a book out of the library. What? What's a library, right? I used to do that. And even now, like if I hear something cool, or I talk to a musician, a piano player, a vocalist, a drummer, doesn't matter. If they talk about some concept, oh cool, show me how to do that. And I'll do it. And it keeps me super excited, whether it's something harmonic, or something with improvising, or some technique. Keeping that spark, hopefully will sustain you from 18 years old until when you eventually die, which you will die, by the way. Well, actually, while we're on the subject, all of us will die. It's like being morbid for no reason. Having that spark, keeping you going, keeping you excited, keeping you fresh, that's the whole thing. And if you're not getting any better, that's okay, as long as you're enjoying it. Because you can already play probably a bunch of Chopin and some Liszt and stuff, right, of course. Is that aiming a little too high? What do you like to play? What on the piano? What are you playing? What are you working on? And what's your process of learning the piece? Hook me up. What do you got?
So basically, like I would find a piece I like, and
It's a good start.
and then like get the sheet music for it, and
Did you download it illegally, you thief?
Well, the composer
Just kidding,
did
just
for
kidding,
like
just kidding.
hundreds of years, so it's on like.
That's what they tell you. His head's preserved in a jar. He's just fine. Go on, though.
But yeah, then I would like go bar by bar, very slowly, like to make sure that I get the accuracy. I think that's important in classical piano, and then I make my way through the song.
And you you love that process. You're just like, this is great. You
Yeah.
enjoy that. Cool. So then you should have no problem with learning like chords and fingering chords. The only problem is you might just get used to like. Have you tried the the calluses and all that? Well, that's great, isn't it? Isn't that fun? So it's really the same mentality. It's just with guitar, you don't have to be as accurate. What we say all the time is, it's close enough for rock and roll. A little bit out of tune, a little sloppy, whatever. Just like pose and get some tattoos and think you're cool. Wait, what?
Alright, I think we need the next question.
Why? Is there a time limit on questions here?
Yes, because running out of time a bit.
I'll keep talking until I'm done talking. How's that sound?
We need more from you.
Oh boy, this has literally never happened in clinic, so let me just
Oh, sorry,
let me just do the
sorry.
work because that's why I'm here. Okay, guys? Is that
Okay,
cool?
got it.
All right, fantastic. So yeah, that's the whole thing. And then again, find people to play with, and then eventually, when you have some money, buy a boogie amp from Bentley Music.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Any follow up on that? You're good. All right, fantastic. I guess I'm gonna play some more music. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right.
I should get you to come on tour. You can play that for me.
Yeah.
End with this chord, shall we?
Yeah. Magic mic.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Hey.
Oh, but
Can you guys hear me? Oh, yes, there is. Can I get a lot of reverb on and like some delay and some pitch shift on my voice? I'm just kidding. Some flanger. He's still looking for it. Thank you guys very much. Thank you, Nicky. Any questions about harmony? Hey, buddy.
Like, what's your story with
Go yeah.
Mr. Boogie? Like, I think you went through a lot of amps. Like, how do you know like Mr. Boogie was your amp?
Oh,
I think like you went through a lot of amps, right?
that's a good question. Yeah, sure, I can talk about that. Okay, this is not gonna budge, so I'll leave it that way. How did I get to Mesa Boogie? How did I get to Mesa Boogie? Or is it Mesa Boogie? Or is it Mesa Boogie? We'll never know. But I can tell you how they came up with the name Boogie. Anybody know the story? Anybody ever thought it was a weird name? You think it's a weird name, right? Okay, it is a weird name. So, here's the story from the mouth of the owner of the company, Randall Smith. He said to me when he was modifying amplifiers back in the day, Carlos Santana came to the HQ where he was working and tried out one of his amplifiers. And Carlos, after playing the amplifier for an hour, said, "Man, this thing really boogies." That's the story. And Mesa, yeah, I have absolutely no idea. You can make your own story for that one. Okay, so when I started playing guitar, my first amp was a Fender Frontman 15R. I had reverb. Very important. Very important tool in a limited gear situation for a young man. Very important indeed. So, from there, I had that amp for a long time, and instead, before I bought a new amp, so I had a solid state amp for years, I bought with the help of my parents, of course, at 15 or 16 years old, another Stratocaster style guitar. It was a Mexican-made Fender guitar. I loved that guitar. The action was so high you could walk under it. You could just strut on through the action and be like, whoa, man, that's gonna be tough. And then from there, I bought off my friend a solid state Marshall amp. So I was in the solid state realm. I didn't know anything about tone. I didn't know a damn thing. Whatever. I was a kid. Forgive me. When I was 18, I had taught a little bit on the side leading up to 18. I was just finishing up high school. And I really wanted an amp from a company. I don't think they exist anymore. They were called Carvin.
Yeah.
And I used to get these Carvin catalogs in the mail, and they were just the most beautiful. They would have like the amplifiers out on the front lawn of these mansions, and these really nice guitars, and oh my god, it was just like gear porn back in the day. And I saved up enough money and I bought a Legacy. I bought my first tube amplifier. It was a 50 watt or the 100 watt head and 4x12. And I had that amp for quite a while. I had that amp for about 4 or 5 years. And around the time where I got back into playing Stratocasters, long story, another the long, boring story that I love to tell. Love to tell. I sold it, and I bought a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe in a snakeskin finish. Oh, it's so cool. God, whatever happened to that amp? I wonder where that amp even is anymore. And I love that amp because I was playing a lot of Stevie Ray Vaughan rip-off, like badly played versions of his stuff, and trying to like blend Yngwie in there, and a little bit of Eddie Van Halen and stuff. And it sounded great. Just I used my guitar straight into it, and there was a distortion channel, and there was a boost. Loved it. My God, very dark sound, very dark. But it worked when I played with a band. I had a band forming because I was putting out demos and it was circulating, and I was about to release my first album, so I was playing. That was my rig. It was great. After that, I'm getting to the boogie thing, by the way. Pay attention, we'll get there eventually. A friend of mine was playing a Mesa Boogie bass rig, and I just remember it being really, I really want to swear, but I'm not going to, really loud. It was really loud, like crazy loud. And it sounded all good, and it was like dark, and he had better tone than I did. He had better, somehow he had better guitar tone with his bass than I had with my guitar. I don't know how he did it. He had magic up his sleeve. But that was when I really became aware of Mesa Boogie. That was in a band, a performance, in a gear, like one-on-one setting. I knew about boogie before because there was a movement happening in pop culture, rock and roll music, where every single guitar player was using a PRS through a dual rectifier. Every single guitar player. It was like the sound. It was like in every magazine. You guys know the band Nickelback? Of course you do. They're a product of my country. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about that. But they did that. There was a band called Hoobastank that did that. There was a band called Theory of a Dead Band, another Canadian product. I apologize. A band called Puddle of Mud was doing that. The list goes on and on and on. All these bands were doing that. So I was like, wait, it's boogie. And it was always this like amp with the bulletproof like anodized, I don't know what the hell you call it, like some steel girder thing on the front of it. Like, well, that looks bulletproof. But I didn't know it from like a tone standpoint. I just knew it from that's the sound of that genre. They need that gear. Much like the Clinic starter pack, you need to be in a new metal band, you needed a PRS Custom 24, and you needed to do a rectifier. And that's it, right? And dyed hair. Everyone had like frosted tips back then. Actually, Mark Tremonti used that same gear, same exact setup, didn't he? Yes, he sure did, folks. He sure did. Okay. From there, I started hearing about this brand from California. I met this guy named David Friedman, and we started talking about gear. And David Friedman and I started to work together a little bit, and he sent me an amp, and it was a Plexi style amp. It was known now as the Brown Eye. And we were actually in talks of designing a signature model with this company, but just something went sideways and it never worked out. Now, the problem with the gear I was using up until maybe 3 years ago, let's call it PB, pre-boogie. It was all like luxury kind of boutique gear, and I started to travel a lot. I started to tour a lot, and I was never able, well, at my level, even now, I'm not taking 4x12s and 100-watt heads on the plane. I'm just not, I'm barely taking it out to the car, first of all, because it's too damn heavy. And what happens when the airline drops your 100-watt head? They're going to give you a tube, they're going to give you AirAsia tubes. Think they have those laying around? They don't. I've checked, no, I'm just kidding. So I didn't want to take the gear with me. It was stupid. And a lot of that gear you just cannot find. There's no distributor for it. So good luck. Your tone, oh, you wanted that tone for your whole tour? No, you're not getting it. So like, deal with that. So I needed to start working with a brand that, first of all, had distribution everywhere. Spread of boogie amps over here. Oh my God. It's like Christmas dinner for tone. Okay. So that was relax. Just relax. Dude, you gotta stop, okay? You're not paying me, so just stop. Okay. See, you're making me screw up here, so just relax, so that was the first thing. I started kind of understanding that this company was everywhere. And they had a really good reputation. Anyone I talked to about Mesa Boogie, it's always like, yeah, trying to find these old amplifiers, trying to find these old heads, these dual rectifiers. Like, that's the sound, that's the tone. All these metal guys using it. I had a lot of friends in the instrumental metal world that were all using this boogie stuff in the studio. Okay, cool. I guess I should look into it. Look one. And then I played. What was the first one? It was a Lone Star. Was the first thing I played. A friend of mine had a Lone Star. It said just on the clean channel with a distortion pedal. And then I found out that was what Andy Timmons was using, who probably has like currently the best rock guitar tone. Like, it's ridiculous what he does with it. It's insane if you haven't listened to it. And then I met some of the guys at the company, because I just through knowing people, and I was at NAMM one year. I met the artist guy, and he was a fan, and it was really cool. It was a really easy introduction. He goes, "Do you want to try some stuff? We have this new piece of gear coming out. It's called." I don't think they had a name for it. It was just this it's like this new modern thing we're doing. It's kind of the first British sounding thing we've ever done. And Randy's all mad. Randy's the owner of the company. He's all mad because he didn't design it, and he's all pissed off that he wasn't the one that got to make it, and everyone loves it. It was pretty fun. He's like responsible for all the Mark series stuff. So they sent me one, and I got a chance to play it and mess around with a lot. And it was much similar to the story of how, why don't I play a Fender, I play this. Very similar. I just fell in love. It just worked, it just clicked in my hands, it felt really good. The thing that is really the selling point for me about these amps is, first of all, they're everywhere. Number two, they're indestructible. And number three, they sound good with a band. Because a lot of amplifiers I've used sound really, really like unbeatable by themselves. Like, wow, this amp is the perfect amplifier. The second you put a loud bass player or a loud drummer, again with the cymbals, all that harmonic content, all that juicy information, those sine waves are gone. But there's something about how the gain is structured. Like, it's super rich. You know, when I'm holding one note, it starts to feed back a little bit. There's a lot living up top. It's blooming. It's blossoming even. With a single coil guitar, I have no idea what this sounds like with a humbucker. I've never done it. But I'm sure it would rip your face off. So that was the big thing, was I now have something I can play to a band. My band might be that tonight, the backing tracks. But it lives on top of it really well. So that was the big thing. That, and it's a pretty cool company. Like, they want to do stuff. They're trying new product. Nothing sounds like a book. I really respect that. They're privately owned still. You see them everywhere, but they're like every single one of them. Every book you ever see anywhere in the world has been made in California. So there's no factory overseas. There's nothing. So there's a quality thing there too that I'm kind of on board with. You know? Available now. Belly music. Okay, let's do a couple more questions, guys. Who's got one for me? Give me something. This side of the room. This is very right heavy. Let's get over here. Anybody have a question? Anybody up front? You, sir. Come on, somebody give me a question. Let's go. Come on. I'm not going to do anything until we get a question from this side of the room. What do you got? Young man, do you have a question for me? Why did you guys come here? Are we doing a stare down? Is that what's happening?